Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Hello guys, today's video is a journal with me video, and we're kind of picking up from where we left off last year before the Christmas season when I was sharing a journaling process video once every week. Evidently that journal got finished pretty fast, and now I have a flip through of that up on my channel, but we're on to the next one, which is always so exciting. Here's a look at the ephemera pieces I'm going to be journaling about today and placing into my journal. I have here an Instax photo of my kids. I have a piece of vintage wallpaper from an Etsy purchase. I have some pressed clovers from our yard, a newspaper clipping of a horoscope for 2021, and some packaging for my new planner that I got for 2021. And for my supplies today, I just have my Pentel Energel pen, a stapler, some washi tapes, some double-sided tape, clear tape, a Bostik glue stick, some scissors and a ruler. Now before we jump into the process, let me tell you a bit about Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes with several different class categories, including crafts, illustration, animation, photography, and many more. Skillshare is suitable for curious and creative people, whether you're a beginner or a pro. Skillshare is perfect for exploring new skills or deepening existing passions and interests. The most recent class I took was one by Michelle B called Designing the Life You Want, 4 exercises for clarity and motivation, and the title of this class really says it all. After watching it, I felt so motivated and I gained so much clarity about what I want more of in my life and how I can take everyday actions toward that. Skillshare is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription, and it's specifically curated for learning, which means there are no ads and there's constantly new premium classes being added. I personally love beginning a new class on Skillshare because I just know that it's going to be jam-packed with great content for me to learn a particular skill or just get more inspired within my own hobbies. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. So thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to the process video. So I'm opening up my journal. This is the first time I'm going to be using it, and I decided to start in the front of the book just because this is the first time I'm using it. So I thought I'd start on the first double page spread, and the first thing I'm doing is just taking my Polaroid, that's the Instax photo, and because this is sort of my favorite piece of ephemera that I have today, I'm starting with that and choosing the very best spot for it. So I think it's always nice to start with your favorite thing that you're putting into your journal and give that like the ultimate position on the page. I think that gives you a nice starter to the page. Everything else can kind of start to complement that. So I really like the way that wallpaper piece sits behind the Instax, and I liked the way the newspaper horoscope fit along the edge of that first page because it fit almost perfectly down the side. I decided to take a little piece of vintage ledger paper and glue that beneath where I'm going to place the Polaroid, and that's going to give me a place to write, give me some lines to write on and sort of fill in some of that space. This journal's really big, so it's going to be probably a little bit different to my last journal when I'm putting the pages together. Also because the pages are a lot more blank than my last journal, there's a lot less scrapbook or patterned paper in here, so I'm trying to build up the page from scratch. Next, I just pulled out those clovers that I'd pressed, and I'm just playing around with where they might look nice on the page, so just testing out some different positions, some different ideas. I liked the way they sat around the little Instax photo, but then I thought it could be cool to have some kind of clear window over the top, which is why I have this little junk mail envelope, and I'm seeing how it looks with the clovers peeking through the plastic window on that envelope. I think it does look cool, but it wasn't my favorite positioning. I did really like the way the clovers sat just more randomly around the photo of my kids in the Instax photo. So even though this was a cool idea, I felt like it wasn't the best choice for this page, so I decided to glue those clovers directly down onto the page beneath the Instax photo instead. I added a little bit of washi tape down the middle of the page just to make sure that ledger paper was stuck down well, and to also fill in the little gap that's going to be between the wallpaper piece and the middle of the page. And then just playing around with all my elements and just seeing where I want everything to go. So I decided to try moving that little newspaper clipping to the inside of the page rather than the edge of the page, and I really liked how that looked as well, so I decided to glue that down the middle. I feel like it helps blend those two pages together into one spread rather than it looking like two different journaling or two different pages. To attach the Instax photo to the page, I'm using some of this red line double-sided tape. I find that double-sided tape works really well for Instax photos. And then I'm just going to layer that on top of the wallpaper, just overlapping the ledger paper, just to bring everything together. And then I'm just laying out those clovers around what I've done so far and just working out the best place for them. So just trying different layouts with those. And to attach these to the page, I'm going to use some acid-free PVA glue with a paintbrush, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue to the page and then just gently press the clovers on top. And then once they're all placed where I want them to be, I also decided to take a little bit of clear tape and just press that over the stems of the clovers, just because they're a little bit more tricky to glue down. And I also took some extra glue and I put a layer of glue on top of the clovers. So this glue, it applies white, but it dries clear. So that's just going to give them a little bit more protection on the page, since they are just exposed on the page. But so far so good. They seem like they're really well attached to the page and they don't look like they're going to come off or get damaged. Now you can see that that glue's dried a little bit, and I'm going to finish the rest of my journaling. So here I'm just playing around with some linen printables. These are from my Etsy shop. You can print them out onto any paper you like, but I printed them out onto some sticker paper, which means I can just peel and stick them straight onto a page. I was just playing around with some ideas, but I didn't really love how it looked. This here is a vintage piece. It's just an old frame from like a cabinet card. And I thought that that fit perfectly on this page and would be a cool little spot to put a photo, just as sort of a nice introduction to the journal. Since this is on the first page, I thought I could find a photo to slip into that later. So again, I'm just taking that double-sided tape to attach that to the page, and it fit perfectly beside that newspaper clipping. Now beneath that, I want to fill it in a little bit. I have another one of those little linen printables, which I'm sticking beneath that, and again you can see it fit really perfectly. Now I'm going to be moving on to the next page to place the rest of my ephemera. So here I just have some packaging from my planner. I got a Write to Me 2021 planner, and so I'm just taking the packaging from that, a little card and the little bit of paper that was wrapped around the planner, and I'm going to attach those onto this page. So this page is actually an envelope in the book. It's bound into the book. And so I just peeled off the little sticky part to sort of semi-attach that card. It wasn't really that sticky after I tea dyed it, but it did help sort of lay it out on the page and begin sticking it and attaching it to the page. So just to make that stronger, I took some more of that same tape and attached that. And then I also added a little strip of that over the top of the exposed sticky part to make sure it wasn't going to stick shut. So I want the flap of that envelope to be like a little fold out, where you can fold out that little card from the planner and you can do some journaling or something underneath. I'm just taking another little strip of washi tape. This is just a different design, and I'm just going to stick that right along the flap of that envelope just to make it look a little bit nicer. Now I'm just taking that other little piece of packaging and I'm going to attach this onto the narrow page on the opposite side. So I'm just going to trim that down a little bit, and then I'm just going to stick it and staple it onto that page. Now I have to work out what I want to do underneath that little card on the envelope side of the page. I'm really liking how the rest of it's come together. So I'm just flicking through, and I decided to add just a couple of staples to the previous page as well. This is some paper I've had floating around. It was sent to me by a friend of mine. It was wrapping up a gift from her, and so I've just been saving this and using it slowly. I decided to take a little piece of this and attach it onto that envelope page just to fill in some space. I am used to working with lots of patterns and lots of visual elements, so I wanted to add in some patterns to this page. And I decided to glue that down the middle so it sort of joins those two pages together, sort of like what we did on the previous page. So it just helps to make the whole spread look more cohesive, make it feel like one spread rather than two. I feel like all of those elements really complement each other and everything blends together really well. This is a little printable label which I'll link down below. I'm just attaching that beside the Instax photo so I can write about that. And then I just wanted to add a little bit of journaling space on the planner page, so where I've got that planner ephemera. And so I'm just looking for the perfect piece to attach. I liked the shape of this little piece, this little craft colored piece. And to make that stand out a little bit more on the page, I'm just taking my pen, I'm just going to draw around the edge of it, sort of like a little frame around the whole piece. That's just going to help it lift off the page and stand out a little bit more. And now you can see I filled in my journaling. So I've journaled on top of that piece. I'm just going to glue it down onto that page, and I think that just helps bring everything together. It just is like a little explanation of what those pieces are, so it's just sort of like annotating the ephemera that I've attached into my journal. And I had a look through my phone and I found this little family photo from Christmas time, and I made it black and white, and I like how that looks inside that little vintage frame, and I think it's like a nice little introduction to the journal because it sort of shows what we look like right now. It's a very recent photo. And yeah, it just shows what me and my family look like right now. And that is the finished page. So I hope you guys enjoyed this process video. There is a little envelope page on this spread that I haven't filled in yet, so I can always come back and slip something inside that envelope. But other than that, I really like how this page came together. I like how all the spaces got filled. I feel like everything looks really cohesive, and I'm really enjoying this journal. I'm excited to do another little page spread very soon. Thank you guys for stopping by my channel, watching this video today. If you enjoy these types of videos, make sure you're subscribed because I share a journaling process video once a week. I will see you all in my next one. Bye.